In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto. Crypto fam, it's your boy CryptoKeeper, and as always, the Bitcoin Crusader. What's up, Miguel? How you doing, bro?
What's up, man? I'm doing good, dude.
We are doing a little bit of an impromptu, a little live stream in the middle of the day. So yeah, welcome. We are glad you guys are here. Just as a reminder for everybody, whether you're watching this live, whether you're watching this later, we've got 2 days, 2 more days. Today is December 21st. On December 23rd, we're giving away $500. You know, it's not 5,000, it's not 5 million, but I'll tell you what, I'll take $500, right? And I unfortunately can't win the competition, but all you have to do is just be subscribed. So that's super simple. Make sure you guys do that. If you are in the comments, make sure you X out, smash the likes, and yeah, let YouTube know that you like what we've got going on. Miguel, what's on the podium today, bro?
I'm on mute, dude. I was doing stuff in the background.
This guy in his mute. This guy in his
dude,
mute.
I'm on mute. I got things doing right. My buttons, my mouse is clicking. The mouse click is loud, so I got to put stuff on mute. So yes, on the podium today, we got Jack Dorsey backhanding Cardi B in the mouth, right? we got Asia going.
Hang on a second. Are you saying that Jack Dorsey has been charged with assault of Cardi B?
I mean, at this point, it should be verbal assault, right? Anything is a hate speech now.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's true.
So yeah, that's going on. We got Asia turning bullish on Bitcoin. We got Terra Luna taking an utter rip through the markets, right? And we finally have some good news about Bitcoin and what we could be seeing. Could we be seeing a Santa Claus rally?
Heck yeah, you know we want to see that. You know we want to see that. Let's jump into it. Let's check out the markets here first. So we've got. Oh, I was down a little bit farther. Up the total market cap is at 2.25 trillion. That is up 4.49%. Miguel, we need that move. That move needs to continue to move in that direction. So that's a good thing. Bitcoin's up 5.58. ETH's a little bit over 4%. Binance a little over 2%. Solana's over 3%. XRP's almost 7%. Cardano 3.5%. Terra Luna. We're about to talk about that in a minute. I mean, it's
dude. Look at that 7. Yeah, look at that 7-day moving average, bro. 55%. Avalanche is another one right below it at 48% up on the week. Dude, they have been ripping through this bearish momentum right now.
Yep. Number 9 and number 10 might soon be number 6 and number 7. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, it would be a huge move from where they're at right now. But ultimately, yeah, they are moving. Hey, Mel, while I'm pulling up this first article, will you drop into the Debate Crypto Academy chat the link? Is it on? Did you drop it?
Yeah. That's what I was doing before.
All right, Dave asked for it. I didn't. He was in there asking where that was. So okay, so let me jump on into it. I got to I got to scare my screen here. So here we go. Let's get it. 1.2 billion with a B dollars worth of Bitcoin moved as it breaks through 2-week-old falling wedge pattern. Listen, guys, we don't even need to read this article. Okay. So that's literally where I'm going to end this, okay? Here's what I have to say. We have been absolutely bearish for 2 weeks. Miguel and I have been busting each other. Well, Miguel's been busting on me more than me busting on him, but for basically being bearish about what's going on. We just had a massive amount of movement in the market, and we freaking needed it. Miguel, tell me what you think of when you hear that there's a $1.2 billion movement happening a couple days before Christmas.
Dude, it's I didn't doubt it. I'll never doubt it. Never count Bitcoin out, right? Everyone's getting very bearish. People get stuck into one sentiment real quick. We've had to break out of the shell of this time frame, this cycle, right? That this cycle is not going to be the same as the previous cycles. We might be headed toward where it looks like we're definitely headed towards an extended cycle of some kind. It doesn't look like the average bear market about to be happening. So people have definitely struggled to adapt to this new thing and just got very bearish very quickly.
Yeah.
But I think Bitcoin still got enough gas in the tank.
Yeah, I don't think I ever questioned the gas in the tank. I think when I told everybody that my game plan was if it gets below 40 that I was going to sell. I think a big part of it was when it breaks, or if it breaks, I don't think it's going to be when at this point, but if it breaks 42, there is a massive amount of resistance, or I mean, of support there. And if we
Yeah.
break down below that, especially if we broke down below 40, that's that big even number that everybody, looks at, whether it's 10K, 20K, 30K, 40K, those even numbers are huge. If we broke down, in my estimation, below 40, I think it was going to cause exactly what you were accusing me of, panic, right? It was going to cause panic. And that panic, I believe, from what I had seen on some of the charts, basically said, hey, 42 to 30 was, almost a free fall. Now, obviously, there's some stops in between. But yeah, I just kind of saw, I see that if we drop down below that, but you know what? The reality is, there is more bullish activity fundamentally in Bitcoin than there ever has been. And so I am beyond excited for what we can do. I just think it's really interesting that, again, we've talked about this before, but nobody has called this, period. Nobody. I mean, we haven't had a single well, so far, I guess, a couple of the guys that have called extended cycles, or what's blockchain backer who said we're in a bear market now. I guess we'll know whether one of those two are right, but other than that, nobody has been on point. And I got to tell you, we're not hitting 100K by the end of the year. I will say that. So I officially just lost about a $200 steak
Hey,
dinner to a good buddy
you
of
never
mine.
know. You never know.
You don't ever know, but I'm just saying, it's not, it is not
Never know.
likely. Let's
You
talk about
never know.
Terra Luna. So Terra Luna, right? New all-time high amid booming DeFi activity. All right, let's check this out. Luna, the native token of the Terra network, hit a new all-time high of $84.47. Wow. Today, building on its solid performance over the last week. Despite backtracking to 83.40 at press time, Luna is still up 8.4% over the last 24 hours, and an impressive 56% in the past 7 days, according to data from CoinGecko. With a market cap of nearly $31 billion, Luna is now the industry's 9th largest cryptocurrency, having surpassed both Avalanche and Polkadot. Miguel, well, actually, let me read one more on a little bit farther. Terra is a blockchain protocol for creating algorithmic stablecoins pegged to various fiat currencies, alongside decentralized finance infrastructure. The network is built using Cosmos software development kit. Luna is used to issue stablecoins, as well as paying for network fees and participating in governance votes. Miguel, why do you think that Terra specifically is on such a tear right now? Do you have any thoughts on why specifically Terra is doing so well?
Well, I think that they had a really low market cap for a long time. They were really undervalued. Another one that gets really undervalued is the Cosmos network, right? A lot of people focus on Polkadot, but they don't really talk about Cosmos as much, and it's kind of gets underrated. So their stable coin as well, right? We've talked about Anchor Protocol. We've talked about what they've been doing with UST. Their stablecoin has flipped to become the 4th largest stablecoin as well. So that is definitely bringing a lot of attention to Terra Luna because of the DeFi space that they're on. So a lot of people are using the Anchor Protocol. If you haven't heard about this before, but you can put UST, which is Terra's stablecoin, on Anchor Protocol and get about 20% APY, which is really amazing nowadays since inflation is around, I believe, like 15%. Unofficial real numbers are around 15%. So
Yeah.
that extra 5% allows you to at least combat some of the inflation that's happening.
Yeah, check this out. The total value locked, there's $18.06 billion locked
Look
in
at
a
that.
total of 13 Terra-based projects, compared to the 16.6 billion total value locked across as many as 225 Binance Smart Chain protocols. Check this out, dude. Like literally, when we look at this, we've got ETH at number 1, right? Total
Yep.
value locked, $153 billion, right? Far and away the biggest. My girl doing her thing, right? But Terra Luna has not been on the map until the last, I don't know, couple
Last
months.
weeks, last couple of weeks has been
Last couple
really
of weeks,
ripping.
super pumped, but he didn't really hear too much about it until the last couple months. And I think that these DeFi protocols, Miguel, I think the big thing here that I'm seeing is these DeFi protocols are coming to fruition because of exactly what you just said. You just brought up the fact that inflation is at a 40-year high right now.
Yep.
So essentially what people need to understand is that when they're putting their money into a bank account right now, it is literally losing money. You are actively losing money. If you're putting money under your mattress, you're effectively losing money. So what people look for when inflation is high is a safe haven of sorts. Like, where do we run to try to help fight against this inflation, which is part of the narrative with Bitcoin, right? Like, well, I'm not just going to keep tons of money or even a small amount of money, whatever the case may be, excuse me, in fiat, because I'm actively losing it at a much higher rate than they are calling for right now too. So I love the fact that ultimately right now, and I hope we can keep it up, DeFi does bring some solutions for that. And the UST being staked on Anchor Protocol at 20% APY, yeah, it literally does the job of, if you trust the protocol and you believe and you've got your OPSEC, your security, everything's tight, then yeah, putting that there actively fights against the biggest problem we have going on right now, which is inflation. I think the inflation is gonna flop before too long the other direction. But for right now, it makes a whole lot of freaking sense. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
I just want to call out to everybody watching right now. Hit that like button if you haven't hit that like button, and share this live with anybody, any friends on Twitter, on Instagram, on whatever social platforms you're on. Share it with somebody. We greatly appreciate it. And remember, get subscribed, guys. $500 giveaway this Thursday. 2 days. We're in 2 days. You can earn $500.
$500. It could be a great. Listen, I hope somebody gets it that really needs some extra Christmas money.
Yeah.
Speaking of Christmas money, Bitcoin rises as China turns bull while Boris backs down. Okay, what did that have to do with Christmas? It had nothing to do with Christmas. It just felt like a good transition there. So let's check this out. So China, for so long, and especially the whole Asian markets recently, have been absolutely bearish. I love seeing these green candles, right? Let's check this out.
That's what I'm talking about.
China has bought Bitcoin for once during Shanghai trading hours earlier today, when the currency jumped from 46K to 48. Europe has carried the momentum, with FTSE up 1% after Shanghai's index, which is the SCHOMP, gained 0.8%. America is keeping up as well, as Bitcoin rose to above 49K, while New York was waking up with their stocks expected to go green by 1% or more. In the face of the global red on Monday that saw Dow end up down 1.25%, pause. It cracks me up that the Dow being down 1.25% is like a story, right? Like, that's like a thing in the stock world versus the volatility that we have in crypto. Yeah, it's like, whoa, we're down 1.25%. Like, bro, we can be down 1.25% and in 15 minutes, the whole market's up 3%. Like, so Bitcoin curiously stopped playing as it held above 45K and wouldn't move down even while stocks did. That's freaking huge, right? Because the stock market does kind of have still a pull on the crypto markets. Bitcoin is thought to be more advanced in macro speculation, so that refusal to follow down and now green up might suggest a change of trend. Some put it down to investors reconsidering judgment to variant in light of growing evidence that it's extra mild. So I personally, Miguel, I don't think this has much to do with the variant. It gets brought up a lot. I don't want to get into that. YouTube doesn't like us talking about all that craziness.
Yeah.
But I think that the thing that we do need to recognize is that crypto is still sensitive to
it's sensitive to world events. It's sensitive, right? Because at the end of the day, the reason why it's sensitive is there's a lot of the majority of investors in crypto are not Michael Saylors that are going to buy no matter what, right?
Yep.
They are very emotional investors. So when they hear things happening around the world, investors, just like in the stock market, take their money out and they start panicking, right? And they start seeing these drops happen, whether they're coordinated or not. It happens. Same thing happens in crypto, and Bitcoin is not yet bulletproof to that until it becomes a more stable thing in the future.
I have another idea that I was kind of thinking about earlier. You know, the market started to really rally hard. Like they dumped really hard in March of 2020. You guys know what happened then. And
Yeah.
then they rallied really hard when the government started the burr, right? Started the
Mhm.
money printer. Okay. Now, with inflation at 40-year highs, what's happening when you go to the pump, Miguel? When you go to the gas pump, what's
Yeah.
happening?
Gas
You're
stations are,
spending
are raping you, right?
you are spending exponential, and it's not even the gas station, right? It is
Oh,
ultimately the
it's the
inflation.
price of the gas. Yeah.
Yeah, and the majority of people, it's not like all of a sudden, like my employees, right? My employees can't come to me right now. I guess they could ask, but ultimately, I try to stay above that curve anyway. But my employees can't come to me and say, "Listen, inflation's up this many percent, so I need this many percent of a raise." But the reality is that would offset, at least for a time being, some of that, or at least the feeling of it. So here's my thought.
But then if they did that, then when your
Oh,
customers come to
exactly,
you,
and it passes
you
on and it
instantly have
passes
to
on.
drop that onto the customer,
Exactly,
right?
exactly,
Yeah.
and so that's what I'm getting at. So what I'm getting at is the inflation has such a long reach that it's dipping into people's disposable income, okay? And it
Yeah.
seems like, okay, well, is it really that big? Yes, it is, because the reality is where it used to be $60 to fill my tank, it's literally 100 now, right? There's been some massive changes within the last couple of years as it relates to how much it costs to do things, and the amount of income that I have coming in has not changed by that amount in terms of just directly this job still pays essentially what this job pays. Yeah, there's been some, price hikes for sure. There has to be. But what I'm getting at is I question whether some of this shakeout has been the fact that there's not, because I've looked at the volume and the volume has been down, right? Do people just
Yeah.
not have as much disposable income right now because they're spending it on extra money at the grocery store, extra money at the gas pump? Everywhere they go, everything's more expensive. I'm telling customers every time we get ready to build something, I have to like prep them for the fact that, hey, I know you probably expected us to be somewhere in this range, but we're going to be nowhere near that. That's a crazy discussion to have as a
Yeah.
result of
Oh,
burr.
I agree. I completely agree. That is definitely something that's happening to people, right? They have less money because they have to spend more money to buy
Yes.
the same things that they were already buying, right? Food prices are up, gas prices are up, everything is up. So you got to spend more. While at the same time, those people are not earning more,
Yep.
right? And it's just the way it is. And not even if they give you an increase, right? $15 minimum wage. Where is that going? That
Exactly.
$15 minimum wage that people got, now with this inflation, they're right back at $9 or $8, whatever it is that they were earning
Yep.
in reality. So it made them no difference. And
Yep.
that's probably why they did it in the first place. They knew inflation was going to come. They knew they were going to print it. Like, we'll give you the $15, but you're going to be stuck with nine again.
I mean,
Realistically.
yeah, the fact is, it does. You already said it, Miguel. It gets passed on.
Yeah.
People think too simple minded sometimes, and they think, well, if I can just look at this, if I look at this with a microscope and say, well,
Mhm.
we just need to earn more money. Well, okay, where's that coming from? Then ultimately, oh, it's coming from my employer. Okay, how are
Yeah.
these employers getting paid? Oh, they're selling something. Okay, so what do they have to do? They have to pass that cost on. It's not like there's a single point in the chain where you just slap it on somebody, but really there is. It's on us at the end of the chain. There's a saying that says crap rolls downhill.
Yeah.
Well, inflation is absolutely a great example of that,
Yeah,
because the
imagine a
end user.
volcano. Imagine a volcano, but
Yep.
instead of lava, it's diarrhea coming straight down, right? Nice and slippery, where you're just gonna slide all the way down. It's an inevitable fight. You can't win. You're just gonna slide all the way down. It won't kill you. It won't kill you, but it's gonna hurt.
Wow, I did not think that comparison was going to be getting made, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, as funny as that is, you are right. Crypto fam, if you're in the chat, make sure you X out, give us a like, and just as another reminder, $500, December 23rd. I know it seems like we're beating a dead horse, but literally, there's like 2 days left, so we just want to keep reminding you. Let's check this out. Twitter. We're always loving talking. Listen, a lot of people like to, used to call me when my beard was all big and bushy and long and out of control before I started like cleaning it up a little bit. They used to call this, say, this guy looks like a Jack Dorsey, like a poor Jack Dorsey or something like that. At any event, just in, Twitter founder Jack Dorsey predicts Bitcoin will replace the US dollar. Now, I actually started making a video on this a little bit ago, and I thought that I posted it, but when I posted it, it was all black. So we're still trying to figure out what the technical difficulty there is, because I obviously did something stupido. So let's check this out. Former Twitter CEO and Bitcoin investor Jack Dorsey replied to the Grammy award-winning Hollywood rapper Cardi B's tweet, where she questioned whether crypto has the potential to replace the US dollar. Let me pause real quick. I'm not trying to be funny, but who cares whether Cardi B questions whether crypto has the potential to replace the US dollar? I would surmise, now, this is me making an assumption, okay? I know nothing about her besides she has some absolutely ludicrous music. I would surmise that Cardi B is not going to be a Michael Saylor of sorts if you sit down and have a conversation with her, right? So ultimately, I don't know. Sometimes these things are just, for the article, but it gets it gets good here. So Dorsey took this opportunity to reiterate Bitcoin's dominance, asserting that the OG crypto Bitcoin will, in fact, replace the green bills. Yes, Bitcoin will. Now, let me stop right there. Miguel, why? All right. Give me the bullish case for why it could, and I'll give you the bearish case for why I don't think it could.
The bullish case, right? And I'm going to be dropping some of this knowledge in the Debate Crypto Academy that a lot of people were interested in learning some economics 101. I got some good source materials that I've bought a long time ago. So I'll definitely be dropping that video so I can back up what I'm saying, so it doesn't seem like I'm just talking out of my behind.
Out of that volcano.
Yeah, out of that volcano, right? So there's there in this this video, this knowledge that I was let me gather my thoughts here. In this video I was watching from it's called Richard Duncan. He wrote the book about the dollar crisis back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And he basically mentions this video was made in like 2012, 2014-ish around time. And he's basically talking about how there is a threshold of how much money printing and inflation a currency can take on that is still manageable and you can bring back down and the currency continue existing, right? Well, basically, we are well past that threshold back in 2014 when this video was made. We're in 2021 right now. For anybody watching this in the future, right, or any time travelers out there, we're in 2021 right now. We are way past that, because in the last 18 months, we've seen a crazy amount of inflation and money printing. So whatever that threshold was, which I don't know off the top of my head, and it was bad in 2014 when the video was made, it is exponentially worse now. So this is why I've told you before that I don't believe they can make it deflate and keep the currency going, because we're past this threshold of how much printing it's already been done, how much damage has already been done to the dollar. It's only a matter of time before they have to switch to something completely new. And therefore, Bitcoin existing, adopting a Bitcoin standard and so on is the bullish case for Bitcoin to replace the dollar, or at least back the dollar somehow.
Okay, yeah. So the end thing that you said there, backing the dollar, I could maybe get on board with that. I have two problems with, and listen, you guys, I hold a decent little bit of Bitcoin, right? I love Bitcoin. It's been good to me. It's been good to my family. So I would love to see it. Here's the two problems that I really see. The first problem is government greed and control. The facts are, we are talking about a government who is overreaching no matter what side of the fence you sit on. We'll just leave it at that. They are reaching right now worldwide. Okay. We know that. I'll leave it at that. Yes, exactly. Just absolutely I mean, it amazes me right now, but I digress. So the first thing is, we are introducing a currency that they do not have full control of, right? It's a decentralized system. And I don't think they like that. I also don't think they like the public side of it. And you're like, well, wait a minute, wouldn't that be a good thing? I think they like it for us, but what's good for you isn't always, or what's good for me, or what, how does that go? What's good for me is not always what's good for thee, right? Which is just saying, like, it does, listen, what applies to me doesn't, or what applies to you doesn't need to apply to me. And I think the government operates like that all the time. I think everyone watching the stream hopefully is well aware of that. So the first problem is that the fact that we have an open source blockchain that is public that the government does not have control over. The second problem is, and I don't know if this could be changed or not, because I don't know enough about the coding side of this to know. But listen, if we were going to actually replace the dollar, that means it needs to be able to be spent, like transaction throughput like no other, right? And so I don't know the numbers, but I think Visa's throughput is something around like 30,000 transactions per second or something like that, right? You've got HBAR, you've got some of these other projects. What were you going to say?
No, so what I was gonna say was that sometimes we have this concept of like the Bitcoin needs to be spent, and I understand it, right? But it doesn't necessarily have to be. The things just need to be denominated in satoshis in Bitcoin, and
Okay.
Bitcoin itself doesn't need to be spent, right? When I say the dollar eventually dying, it doesn't mean that it will ever go away. What we're seeing right now, as an example of this, is the Turkey, right? The country, not the bird, right? Turkey. Their currency is called the lira, and it's at all-time highs of inflation right now. It's just skyrocketing because of the level of money printing that they've done. There's some comparisons that I'm going to be dropping in our academy showing how much money they've printed compared to the United States. We're not far behind, right? On that M1 money supply. So with that being said, it's not that the dollar will disappear and will never appear again. The dollar can still exist, right? It will just be very inflated, very devalued compared to the Bitcoin, compared to Satoshis, and the denomination of things will switch from dollars to Satoshis, but that would be a level of transition that takes a lot of time, a lot of education. So
so that's where I guess I'm pulling a like the way that it's written and the way people are taking it as like literally Bitcoin, because originally if you read a book like over my shoulder here, the Bitcoin Standard, it was intended to be a peer-to-peer payment system, right? But I don't think on the front end, even though the idea was to take the power out of the hands of the government and these massive businesses and all of these things that run our world, ultimately that runs our money system right now. I don't think some of the things that would be complications would be if it actually took the place of, then it would need to be able to be spent that way. That's all I'm saying. But but if what you're saying, Miguel, is, hey, if we make a transition where, maybe we have a stable coin that's, the US dollar, USDC, or whatever it may be, that is backed by Bitcoin, then we're talking about, hey, this is the reserve currency. And then the question becomes, how, I guess the only thing that my mind tries to wrap around is I've never done the math on what 21 million times 100 million is. I don't know what that number is. But ultimately,
times 100 million.
Yeah. So that's so that's how many Satoshis are in a Bitcoin.
Right? Yes.
And so ultimately, I don't know what that number comes out to be, but that number would need to at least represent an idea of what the world. If we're going to be the reserve currency, it's got to actually back up in terms of value for what that looks like. But here's the thing. If Bitcoin was to take that place, here's why I think it could do it, because each Bitcoin would literally be worth absolutely insane amounts of money. We're talking, if it became the world reserve currency, I think Bitcoin would be millions of dollars. And then you're talking about millions times 100 million. Do you know what I mean? And all of a sudden this whole conversation.
The Satoshis, right? When at that point, people will literally only be holding Satoshis in their wallet. People will not be holding half a Bitcoin, right? That's why there's this. That's why there's
will be not.
Yeah, that's why they say, they've been saying it for years, right? You've heard the whole, if you own 0.024 something of a Bitcoin, you're part of the 1% of the future, right? Because nobody's going to be holding that amount of Bitcoin in 30, 40, 50 years or whatever it is.
I think it's a really interesting idea. I think it's something that we talk about a lot, and I think that it's something to be investigated because something needs to change. That's just a fact. I don't care what you think of our economic system. There's things that need to change, right?
Changes are going to happen either the hard way or the easy way or some kind of way.
They absolutely are going to have to. Do we have anything in the chat before we call it a stream, Miguel? We got anything?
Sean says, I don't think Bitcoin will replace fiat currency, more of a store of value. I think the store of digital cryptos are better fundamentally to replace fiat as currency.
I don't think replace fiat, more of a store of value. I think crypto digital are better fundamentally to replace fiat as
basically saying that there's other cryptos out there.
Yeah,
and I understand that, right?
Yeah.
And people need to understand that Bitcoin, right, like you said, was before a peer-to-peer. Now it's become kind of a store of value. The reason why that's happened is because there's that trilemma, right? Scalability, security, and what was the other one?
Privacy.
No, not privacy. It's transaction speed or something like that.
The throughput, transaction throughput. Okay, I thought you said
that. Yeah. It was scalability, something. Now I'm butchering it, but whatever. Point is, Bitcoin has shifted away from the peer-to-peer, right? Because we have Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is technically the peer-to-peer, right? That's what they always claim, that Bitcoin Cash is the true vision of Satoshi, because it is that peer-to-peer. You can send Bitcoin Cash like this.
Decentralization, security, and scalability.
There you go. Yeah. So that being said, why doesn't anybody choose to use Bitcoin Cash? Why do people choose to use Bitcoin instead of Bitcoin? You can spend Bitcoin Cash on a day-to-day like nothing, no big deal. Why? Because they don't have the security, right? They can get 51% hacked, and all these things can happen to the network. Bitcoin decided to focus on, or the Bitcoin core developers and everybody decided that it's more important to be a store of value. If we just focus on security, we'll be a lot slower. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't understand about Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin is old technology. Bitcoin can't keep up. Bitcoin chooses to be the way it is. It's not like the way it is because it can't adapt. It has chosen to slowly adopt new technologies into it, right? We had the Taproot upgrade in November. Nobody talks about it. Nobody even understands what just happened there. Bitcoin is introducing privacy. Bitcoin is introducing the capability of smart contracts. All these things are happening on Bitcoin. Nobody talks about it. Nobody even understands it. Yeah. So it's not that Bitcoin can't adapt. Bitcoin just focuses primarily on security and being the most secure network in the crypto space.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is what it is, and it is going to be what the people ultimately say that it's going to be. Crypto fam, I want to remind you guys something before we jump off here. If you have we now have activated super chats and super stickers, right? Super chats are basically where you can donate towards what we are doing. Ultimately, obviously, when we're on, YouTube, we essentially are donating our time, so to speak. But we do have those. If there's something that you have that's really important that you're like, hey, I want them to see this, we do have super chats available. You pay a couple bucks, whatever it is, and it highlights yours, and then we will always read those super chats. It's not that we're ignoring the other chats. We definitely are always looking at the chats. But sometimes, especially when it gets a little bit more crowded in here, sometimes you just miss things. That's just a fact. Yeah, so I just want to remind 100%. You guys of that. If nobody's reminded you before today, guys, we love each and every one of you. If you guys are looking for a more in-depth way to get plugged into crypto, we've got Debate Crypto Academy. We've got about 50 people right now that are learning together, working together, talking together. We've got a Telegram group. We do weekly seminars, and ultimately we're starting to teach trading right now. Guys, the fact is, we're not just trying to sell you on some course. What we ultimately want to do is help you on your educational journey. That's what this is about, so that you can make better decisions in the crypto space. And that is a huge undertaking. It is. And so if you can jump off of 5 years and 5 years of, wrong way, 5 years and 5 years of experience in the space, that is a huge leg up from what I had when I started and what Miguel had when he started. So we do have that available. It's debatecrypto.academy. We would love to have you come check us out. We'd love to see you. So Crypto fam, we love you guys. We hope you have a blessed day, and we will see you soon. Until next time.